get ready, got my armor for the day. I get ready, this way, I know you're with me every step I take. Whoa, this way, I know you're with me every step I take. I got the sword of the spirit, the shield of faith, the belt of truth around my waist. When I feel weak, you make me strong, never back down. I got my God suit on. Every battle that I face, I'll be ready when the arrows fly my way. Hold me steady, this way, I know you're with me every step I take. Oh, this way, I know you're with me every step I take. I got the sword of the spirit, the shield of faith, the belt of truth around my waist. When I feel weak, you make me strong, never back down. I got my God suit on. Your saving grace will guard my head. Your righteousness like a bulletproof vest. These good news shoes were made to run, never back down. I got my God suit on, never back down. I got my God suit on. Got my hands in the air and your praise on my lips. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Every battle I face, my God has won. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Got my hands in the air and your praise on my lips. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Never back down. I got my God suit on. This way, I know you're with me every step I take. Oh, this way, I know you're with me every step I take. I got the sword of the spirit, the shield of faith, the belt of truth around my waist. When I feel weak, you make me strong, never back down. I got my God suit on. Your saving grace will guard my head. Your righteousness like a bulletproof vest. These good news shoes were made to run, never back down. I got my God suit on, never back down. I got my God suit on.
Good
morning. This morning we're going to be learning about the story of Esther, which happened about 470 years before Jesus came. So get yourself comfortable and get ready to watch our story.
King Xerxes was king over the Persian Empire, which was the biggest kingdom in the world at the time. He was rich and he was powerful. King Xerxes had thrown a big feast and had drunk lots of wine. He wanted his queen Vashti to come and dance in front of all the men at the feast, so he sent to his guard,
"Go to Queen Vashti and tell her to dance for me."
Queen Vashti was holding her own feast for her women at the time, when the guard came and asked her to dance for the king. Her answer was quite simple.
No.
Sire, the Queen says no.
When King Xerxes heard the news that Vashti refused to come and dance to him, he was angry.
She will never be my queen again.
So the search began for the king to find a new queen to replace Queen Vashti. He searched the land for beautiful women. Amongst these beautiful women was Esther, a simple Jewish girl who lived with her cousin Mordecai, who had taken care of her when her parents had died. She was beautiful and obedient, and she was chosen to come before the king. Esther loved Mordecai and her people, and she was sad to leave them behind. All the beautiful women who were brought into the king's palace had to spend a year being given beauty treatments of oils and perfume before they appeared before the king. When the time was ready, they appeared one by one before the king so he could choose his new queen. All of the women who appeared before the king were beautiful, but none were quite good enough to replace Queen Vashti. Not even the most glamorous of women could impress the king. But at last, Esther appeared before the king and captured his eyes. He chose Esther to be his queen. One time, Mordecai heard that someone was trying to kill the king. He overheard them hatching their cunning plan. He went and told Queen Esther, and she managed to save the king's life. Another man became famous in the kingdom called Haman. The king thought he was a good man and ordered everyone to bow down to him, but he was a bad man and he hated the Jews. Haman was proud and he loved all the glory of people bowing down to him everywhere he went. But Mordecai refused to bow down to him, and this made Haman very angry. In his anger, he went to the king and told them about the Jewish people who would not bow down to him and therefore would not bow down to the king. But really, it was because he hated Mordecai and he wanted to find a way to get him killed. So he convinced the king to make a new law. Kill all the Jews! When Mordecai heard about the plan, he went and he told Esther. He pleaded with Esther, "Esther, you cannot stay silent. You must help save our people. Maybe God has put you here at this time to save our people." Esther went and prayed and fasted for 3 days and told her people and Mordecai to do the same. She refused to eat any food in that time. Esther was frightened. She knew that if she went before the king without being asked, she might get killed. But she put her faith in God and she chose to be brave and she chose to go to the king anyway. Amazingly, as she approached the king, he held out his golden scepter, which meant she was welcome and he wouldn't kill her. The king asked Esther, "Why have you come, Esther? What is it that I can do for you?" Esther had a plan. She invited the king and Haman to come to a special feast that she would prepare for him the next day. That night, God intervened. King Xerxes could not sleep. He woke up and he ordered for his special books to be sent to him, books which have recorded all the special things in history. As he was reading, he remembered the time when Mordecai had saved his life. He remembered that Mordecai overheard the people who were planning to kill him. The king thought that Mordecai should be honoured for his good deeds, so he asked Haman, "What should I do to a man who needs to be honoured?" Haman said, "Give him your special robes and a horse and parade him round the streets." The king said, "Great, go and do these things for Mordecai."
Mordecai?
Haman thought that the king was talking about him and was most upset. The time had come for Esther to throw her special feast for King Xerxes and Haman. As they ate, the king asked Esther, "What is it that I can do for you?" Esther said, "Save me and my people from your enemy." "Who is my enemy?" the king said. "Lord, Haman is your enemy. He has convinced you to make a plan to kill my people. I am a Jew, and so is my cousin Mordecai, your best adviser." As the king discovered this trickery, he was angry with Haman, so angry that he sentenced him to death instead. The king was very sorry that he had made the law that the Jews could be killed. But even the king could not change the law. So Esther asked the king to make another law, a law that said that the Jews could fight back if someone tried to kill them. The king knew this was a good idea, and so he made the new law. The new law said that the Jews were allowed to defend themselves if anyone tried to kill them. Soon, no one wanted to hurt the Jews anymore, and Esther was remembered for her courage and her faith and for speaking out and saving her people.
We hope you enjoyed that story. So now we're going to have a little chat about the story and see what we can learn from the story of Esther. So kids, is there anything that you think you learned from the story of Esther? What did you learn from Esther herself?
She was brave because she went to a king without asking and she saved the Jews.
She did, didn't she? She was very brave. She used her voice, didn't she, to speak when it was quite dangerous to speak because it could have cost her life. But what did she do before she spoke to the king? She didn't just go
fasted for 3 days and prayed.
She prayed and fasted for 3 days, didn't she? So she didn't just go in and use her words without thinking about it. She really prayed, didn't she? She asked God to be involved, didn't she?
Mm-hmm.
Because what could have happened if
She
she'd
could
gone?
have died.
She could have died, couldn't she? Because if you approached the king without being asked by him to come, he could have sentenced you to death.
So, girls, you want to say anything about Mordecai and Haman? Who was the goodie? Who was the baddie?
Mordecai was the goodie. Mordecai was the goodie.
That's right.
What made him good? What did he do?
Who did he care about pleasing the most? Was it God or himself or the king?
God.
God. He cared most about pleasing God, didn't he?
And also Mordecai saved the king's life.
He did, didn't he?
Xerxes.
That's right. So he honoured the king, didn't he? He wanted the best for the king.
What did Haman want?
Powers.
Powers, yeah. That's an interesting point, isn't it? That Haman wanted power. He wanted to seek after his own interests.
And Mordecai wanted peace.
And what happened in the end to Haman, who wanted power?
He got killed.
So yeah, his greed for power ended up destroying him.
Yeah,
His
so,
pride.
so he wanted power, but instead he got killed. And Mordecai, who didn't want power, he got the power.
He got the power. It doesn't mean that just because we honour God, we'll be given power, but it means that we will be trusted with more responsibility.
So I think it's really important to learn from Esther that sometimes the best thing to do in a situation is to be silent and to not speak. But sometimes God has put us in a situation where we really need to speak out because we're the only person who can speak out on behalf of somebody maybe who's suffering or who's being bullied or maybe somebody who's being treated badly, because we might be privileged and be able to speak to somebody who will listen to us. But we need to keep listening to God and trust him to know when it's time to speak, when it's time to act, when it's time just to be silent and to not say anything. And we can learn that actually, if we put our trust in God, that he will give us the courage to do something that is right, even if it's scary, and even if it's costly to us. Sometimes speaking out for God means that what we have to say won't be that popular, or what we have to say may not be received very well. or that what we have to say will make people angry. But if it's the right thing and we have prayed and God has prompted us to speak, it's always best to have the courage to do what is right and let God be the one who works through us.
So for this morning's craft, we're going to be making some crowns and a golden sceptre. So for this craft, we're going to need some greaseproof paper, a pencil for drawing. We need some chocolate. I've got some white chocolate and some dark chocolate. You can have whatever chocolate you want. And then for decorating, we can either have sweets. I've got some Smarties here, some Dolly mixtures. You can have whatever sweets you want. Also, got a little healthy snack bar. I've got some apricots and some almonds and some raisins because I like healthy things, so I'm going to go for the healthy option. And then some breadsticks for making the golden sceptre, some sprinkles, anything you've got in the cupboard. I actually happen to have some gold glitter edible spray, which was amazing. I found that, which is great. So they're for decorating with. And then for piping your chocolate, if you've got a piper in your house, that's great. But if not, you can use a plastic bag and cut off a teeny tiny little corner, and I'll show you how to do that later, okay? So to begin with, let's melt some chocolate. I'm gonna get my bowls. Break them into small bits because then it's easier to melt. And I'm going to use the microwave for melting my chocolate just because it's quick and easy. But the trick with a microwave is that you don't put it in for too long, otherwise it will burn. So I'm going to do these in 20-second little bursts. Get my little spoon. Spoon does not go in the microwave. Metal doesn't go in the microwave. Just put it in a bowl, make sure it's not a metal bowl. And I'm going to put it in for 20 seconds at a time. That's 20 seconds and that's not quite melted, so I'm going to do another 20 seconds. There you go, that's after 40 seconds. Now it's not fully melted, but that's good because I want to just melt it in slowly. We kind of want it to be thick enough to pipe as well. So keep on melting, mixing that. Meanwhile, I'll put this one in as well. And while my white chocolate is melting in the microwave, I'm going to draw a crown on my greaseproof paper, okay? So it doesn't have to be very special, just make sure it looks like a crown. I'm going to go for jaggedy triangle edges. There we go. And then let's get my white chocolate out. Here's my white chocolate, that's all ready to go. So I've got my crown, and I've got my chocolate. I'm actually going to do my golden sceptre first because I think it'll be easier to dip the breadsticks into the bowl of chocolate. So I'm going to also get myself something to put them on. Right, let's get my golden sceptre. I think I'm going to make my golden sceptre covered in white chocolate. I'm just going to cover the end of it. Here we go. Move that out of the way. Cover the end of my golden sceptre. Just like King Xerxes held out his golden sceptre to Esther. And as I was thinking about this, I was thinking it's quite amazing really, because with King Xerxes, if you approached him and he didn't summon you, you could have been put to death. But I thought it's amazing that actually when we approach God, he always says yes to us, he always welcomes us. And it's really because of Jesus that he makes that possible, that we can come before God through Jesus whenever we want to, and he will never reject us. Okay, I've got my sprinkles here. I'm just going to sprinkle them over. There we go. Here's my golden sceptre. Yummy. Put it there to dry. That can go in the fridge later.
Now I'm going to move on to my golden crown. So here we go, golden crown. I'm going to use dark chocolate for mine because I love dark chocolate. So you can either pour it into a piping bag like this, or I'm going to show you how to do it in a little plastic bag. First of all, take off the corner of the plastic bag, but just a teeny bit. You don't want it too big, otherwise it's going to come out too quickly. So I'm just going to cut a tiny little corner off. There we go. Open it up. Which corners? There it is. Okay. We want to put our chocolate down into the corner of the bag. Now, you guys, I'm sure, are going to do a far better job than I am with this. I haven't really planned it through very well. I'm just ad-libbing here. I haven't even tried it out beforehand. Right, let's get some more chocolate in there. You could even mix it up. Put some white chocolate in the same bag and make it all marbly. Better save enough chocolate for the kids as well when they ever go. There we go. Ready? Just going to fill it in as much as you can. It doesn't have to be solidly filled in. I'm going for the lattice effect, the lattice crown. And this is to remember Queen Esther and her faith and her courage, that God put her in that position of being queen for a special time. And she didn't use her power to oppress people, she used her power to set people free, just like Jesus. Okay, you might want to wash your hands at this point. I'm going to do that. Now it's the time for you to decorate your crown. So you can use sweets, or you can use dried fruit, or both. I'm going to go for the healthy version, so I'm going to go for some apricots. Just pop them in like this. I'm going to decorate it like this. Ooh. Maybe some chopped nuts. That's what I found in the cupboard. Thankfully, who knows how old these are. Okay, maybe some raisins as well. There's my jewels. Yummy. Now I wonder whether you guys are going to opt for the dried fruit or for the sweets. Got a good idea. Okay, so once you have done your crown, you can pop that in the fridge. So you want to put it on a plate or like a flat baking tray. I'm going to get a flat baking tray because it's flatter than a plate. Here we go. And then pop that in the fridge. And then we'll also put our golden scepter in the fridge as well. Okay, the crowns and the scepters have been in the fridge for about 20 minutes now, so let's get them out, have a look at how they come out. Oh, so here is my one. Quite pleased with that. My golden scepter and my crown. And I do happen to have, like I showed you earlier, this golden glitter spray, which is edible, which is quite impressive. So I'm going to give mine a little golden glitter spray. That is great, look at that. So, all you need to do now is peel it off really, really carefully because it's going to be very delicate. There we go. You've got your golden crown.
Thanks guys for joining us. We hope you had fun watching our video. We've had fun doing it. We've done lots of filming, lots of cuts and all sorts of stuff. We had one little takeaway that stood out most for us. Han, what's that little phrase?
So remember that our prayers matter, that our words matter, and our actions matter. But what matters most is that we give it all to God before we speak and before we act, and let Him do the work through us.
Alrighty, cheers guys.
Bye.
Yeah.
Okay. Ready?
Okay.
Haman. Right, ready?
No. Okay, go on.
Haman came to the king.
Right, no, look, come back. You're not going anywhere yet. Come back.
So,
Okay. On it. What's the little slogan again, Hannah? Hi guys, thanks for joining us. This is like take 3 of the ending. Thanks for joining.
Hi guys, thanks for joining.
Right, everyone get comfortable.
get comfy, everybody. Shake
Right,
their
now we're
butt.
in